guys, I'm Tim.
I'm Bob.
I'm Dan.
And I'm Spencer.
And this is the Board Game Rundown, and it's also another glorious day in the core.
Our squad of ultimate. We can't say that. Sorry.
Yeah, bad stuffs.
Yep.
Bad heinies. That's great, right? So yeah, we are going to review Aliens: Another Glorious Day in the Core from Gale Force 9.
Easier read than said.
Yes, read than said. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can count 6 characters, 7 after the first mission. So you can play up to this many players if you want.
Yep.
And they've got 2 different sort of options as far as the game goes. You can play just bug hunts, where you've got like a one-shot little mission.
Okay.
You're going on, you're going to do a thing.
Yep.
Or you can play up through the campaign.
Right.
And the campaign has 3 missions, but it could have more, which is the fun thing.
Yep.
Okay.
And so what's cool is for the board, like it's basically like, here's what you need to do, tells you what's going to
Each
happen.
mission has its own little card for setup.
And then here's your board setup, your setup keys, so it tells you everything
Okay.
pretty easily, right?
Right.
Pretty.
Nice thing about modular boards.
It's pretty straightforward, right? And these are double-sided, so the other side of the board, you've got like different
Other
maps,
options, yeah.
different maps you can build. And like the first mission, if we were we're loosely set up for like the first mission, just to give you an idea.
The aliens wouldn't be starting there, but it looks cool.
Yeah, so you know, there'd be no aliens. You're starting. You've got to investigate these blips. One of them is going to be new. Oh, but that was luck.
Wow.
But
He
you
set
could
it
go. You could run up to the computer and you can look at these.
Oh, okay.
And then after turn 3 in the first mission, we start drawing motion tracker
Nice.
cards. And the motion tracker cards are going to tell you this. There's got a number for the spawn point. And then, so that's going to also exhaust 1 card for each character within line of sight when this blip spawns. So the neat thing about this, yeah, that's going to happen a lot. So the neat thing that's going to happen about this is like the mechanics of this game and the way that they do your health is really good, and it's really hard.
Okay.
It's really tight, I guess is maybe a better way to say it. So aliens are going to show up. That's just 1 blip, right? So once this blip comes into our
blip.
It is a blip.
I was wondering whether. Okay, yeah, that's great. Yeah.
Once it comes into view, so that's just 1 alien. That's good.
Yeah.
That means it's just this dude, right? But if it was a higher number, or like a 2, so that means now there's 2 of them in this swarm. And when you fire or shoot at a swarm, like basically 1 hit gets rid of the first one, and then you work your way through the swarm.
Nice.
Now there's things like grenades and flamethrowers, which can eliminate
Multiples,
stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. The swarm is a super simple and effective way to basically just give them more health, right?
Yeah.
It's basically just that alien has 3 health.
So their health doesn't change every time you attack them.
Right. Not a variable amount of health. Once they appear, it is set.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
It's great.
Boring.
One really cool thing I like about how they do line of sight is so that these icons here are doors.
Okay.
If you are next to a door, it is considered open.
Okay.
If no one is adjacent to the door, it is considered closed.
Auto close.
Because they auto close.
Sure.
Right. So line of sight can be fluctuating.
Okay.
You can take an action and barricade doors. So then the aliens
Can't
or
get through
you have to like try to get through. So they would need to roll high enough to beat the barricade.
Value, whatever it is.
Right. And
Okay.
so in our game, we got lucky because we had some these blips got stuck over there.
They literally start the game there, and they didn't leave that room because they
Well,
never busted the
We
barricade.
barricaded this door.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay,
And
yeah.
they never made it
That
past
hallway
that door.
is still part.
It's
But
pretty
yeah,
awesome.
Crazy.
So in this game, you're gonna equip your characters. If you are, so yesterday we played 4 players. Okay, so obviously there's more than 4 characters. So the character's not being used. You flip them over. They're a grunt.
Okay, like an NPC kind of.
Yep, they're an
Okay.
NPC that you're gonna control. So they still have basic stats. And then basically anybody with rank. So Gorman, he's got a rank of 3, so he's the highest ranked character.
Okay.
He can activate up to 3 grunts on his turn
He also, I believe, is starting player, right? Because of highest rank.
because of highest rank.
Nice.
But
Okay.
if Gorman is not in play, then you would go to the next
somebody
one.
else.
So
Sure,
we
sure.
had Hicks. I think Hicks ended up being our starting player last night. And but the game is thematic because it is tense. The way stuff works out. So here's why it's thematic. We come into this game. It tells you when you start your game, you're going to go through this deck.
The entire deck of the game.
And you're going to pick your equipment. and your weapons, and you can have a backup
Get your
weapon.
loadout.
Right.
You get anything you want at the beginning.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So I was Vasquez. I had the big old smart gun.
Yep.
Right. I'm like, sweet. Let's lock and load. I think Ripley had the flamethrower.
Yep.
You know, and so we had all this equipment. We're all decked
You're
out.
like, yeah, and all of a sudden,
We're-
aliens.
No, here's where it gets worse.
Okay.
All of a sudden,
Mhm.
this deck that we just took a whole bunch of cards, like 4 cards for each player out of, because we equipped everybody.
Fully loaded.
Fully loaded. This deck, as it gets exhausted, when you run out of cards in this deck, game over, man.
Damn.
That's like one way to lose.
Yeah. Okay. So you don't want to necessarily pull too many out there if you don't have to.
Right.
Exactly. And the cost, you'll see cost and everything. That is so for me to shoot this gun, I have to exhaust 3 cards from that deck.
Oh. That runs out
Right.
fast.
Yeah,
Is there any way to move them
exactly.
back?
Yeah.
Some.
Yes. Some.
Not many.
Not many. And something you can think about too, for all you guys playing this for the first time out there, you'll be drawing. You can take an action to draw cards from this deck too, which obviously is also kind of bad. You're limiting that deck, but that means you can equip stuff later in the game, so you don't have to start with all this stuff.
Sure.
You know, maybe don't start with everyone fully equipped, and when you feel you're in a comfortable position later in the game, be like, I will pull and put on some armor. You know, so maybe it's
So do you
situational.
pick? Do you just draw the top card to add, or you get to look again to draw? If you said like, oh, I want the armor, you get to try to find the
You have to
armor.
try to find it. You are
Okay.
taking a rest action and drawing 2 cards, I think.
Okay.
And there's hazard cards in this deck.
Yikes,
also.
apparently.
And this one in particular really made things really tough.
Oh, that one was terrible.
Because place this card on your character. Each time your character activates, exhaust 2 cards. So every time it was Pete's turn, we had to exhaust 2 cards.
Yeah. Blinding rage.
It was really brutal. It
Mine
was
wasn't
really
Leave
nearly,
her alone.
mine wasn't nearly as bad, my hazard, but one of the options on there was reveal a card. If it was a yellow event card, exhaust 4 cards. And every time it was my turn, Tim revealed a yellow card.
Oh my gosh.
We almost lost the game because
Nice.
of that.
So it was, but thematically though, it felt really tight. Like
It did.
because we walk in, right, and it's like the movie. These Marines are the baddest dudes in the universe, right? And
Yeah.
they're just gonna walk in. Hey, whatever. We're gonna find these colonists and,
yeah,
get
we're
out
just
of here.
smoking. Get out of here.
Literally 80% of the game, we were on top of it. We found Newt. We were heading to the exit. We had some of this deck left. And then literally in like one turn, we had a horde of like eight Xenomorphs here. I almost said zombies. And then a tunnel busted up through the ground right next to us. And they started pouring out.
It was so bad.
So we killed all these guys, and we were running towards the exit, and we had this horde chasing us, like crawling down the hallway
Yeah.
towards us, you know?
Nice.
It was
fantastic.
amazing. So yeah, it ramps up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so here's the thing now, is then after the game is done, the mission's done. So if you're playing a campaign,
Mm-hmm.
you are going to, everybody's going to go through the discard deck and pick 1 card to put back in the endurance deck.
Oh.
Okay. The exhausted deck will go back in the endurance deck for your next mission, which is good.
Yep.
But then you are going to take half of the leftover discard pile and it's gone from the game.
Wow.
So your endurance deck
You
can
be careful not to discard too many things.
Right.
Okay.
And there's ways to cycle discarded cards back into
Sure.
the deck. The hazard cards never leave. The hazard cards always go back.
Of
right?
course.
I do have a quick question.
Yeah.
So this deck here that spawns monsters, is it like stacked in any certain way, or is it completely
The
random?
first mission is stacked in a certain way, so they will only spawn at 2 specific points for like the
Okay.
first 10 cards.
Okay.
But the problem is you draw a motion tracker card for each player.
So that runs out quick.
Yeah, well, not just that, but so I had an ability. I had the actual motion tracker. I can't remember what its fancy
Yeah,
name is, but
motion
I had the
tracker.
actual motion tracker, and so it has a fancy name. So I was able to look at the top 2 cards and choose one to put on top and bottom. Right,
Nice.
that's cool. But we draw 4
Correct.
every round
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, yeah.
so I'm really only helping
Yeah.
us 25% of the
Sure.
of the round. You know, but yeah, that's really sick.
And when you start to get into that, and some of it's like for spawn an extra blip for each thing you can see. So
Yep. Wow.
Um,
So yeah, I mean, I do see there's more blips on some of those cards. Than
so that means
yeah,
you're,
so 2
you're
would
dropping
spawn
2
there.
blip tokens.
yeah, that's not how many
I
Xenomorphs.
thought
That's how
the
many.
back looked like it had more on it. Flip that deck back over. See, there's only 2
Oh.
in there. That's why I don't know if there's different stages, right? There's like beginning stages ones, and then there's like late stage ones.
That might have to do
See
with.
that? Look at that.
No, I don't know.
That's why I
think
didn't know
it's
if, like,
just
if it
variety.
scales up. Like, do you like, oh, you flip this one over on the 11th turn or past, the
Oh,
initial
nope.
10. You're like,
I
oh,
didn't
that's
think
a,
so. I
Nope,
didn't even
because
That's a
notice,
false
though.
alarm. It has like the
Didn't
most
even
blips
notice
on
though
it.
if
Yeah, right. Oh, false alarm.
Oh, nothing. Oh, whew.
And recycle a card. So that lets you take a card from your discard and put it on
Nice.
the bottom of the endurance deck.
For combat, there's this aiming mechanism to where her aim starts at 7. So basically, when she wants to shoot, she just rolls this, and if she rolls 7 or lower, she hits, and then it's like recoil, right? It goes down. Your aim gets worse over time. You can take an action to up your aim.
So a hit would do that.
A hit is an insta kill. Yeah, if you hit the Xenomorph, it dies.
Okay.
The problem is if the Xenomorph hits you,
You die.
well, you get knocked down, which is terrible. Maybe not as bad as dying, but pretty
Right.
close.
Pretty bad. So yeah, and so another interesting thing is the Xenos will then move towards you and attack you during the alien phase, right? You
Makes
can
sense.
choose to fire your weapon
Like attack of opportunity.
like an attack of opportunity as they come after you. But if you do that, you've got to exhaust the cards to do that.
Exactly. It's not free. It still takes
But you
if you attacked on your turn and then it's gonna take. So there were some times where I was like, I could shoot the Xenomorph and kill it right now, but I know it's just gonna rush me anyway, so I might as well save my cards and just kill it with the attack of opportunity instead.
Right. Do something else with your action.
Yeah, exactly.
or you can wait and melee. So what we were doing with the grunts, because we were getting real low on we were just rolling the melee for them because you don't have to exhaust any cards for a melee.
Okay.
You know, so it's like it's only a 1. We actually had
Oh
one.
no, he got hit.
I think it was Gorman actually took out like 2 dudes, right?
Yeah.
With ones. It was like 1.
Yeah, he was
one.
stuck in a corner surrounded by that horde I was talking about earlier, and he was just stabbing him. And then, so he got knocked out one turn. And then Danielle over here was like, stand up with the medic card. So
She
he stood
played a
up.
card that allowed him to stand up. So he kept him over there.
Nice.
So here's the other thing, right? Is if you start your alien turn knocked down
Uh-huh.
and there's an alien next to you, you are drug away.
Uh-oh.
So you're gone. You're out of the game,
Okay.
right? So
Not
campaign's done.
necessarily Killed.
You're getting ready to go do your next mission, right? Well, you could do a rescue mission. And so you're going to go and do a whole side mission where you are just going to
the
rescue
person that got drug away.
the people
Yeah.
the
That's
characters
awesome.
that
It's
got
like a
drug
side
away.
quest.
Yeah. Right.
Very Left 4 Dead.
Yeah.
know?
thought we were
Or,
supposed to nuke
oh,
the
hey,
site.
your deck's getting really low, our endurance deck.
Uh-huh.
We should go on a supply mission before we do the next campaign mission. So there's a whole supply mission where it's going to let you go and get
A bunch of
cards,
discards back.
a bunch of cards back, and put them back in your
Wow.
deck.
That's
Yeah.
very cool.
So, I mean, the game is really intense.
Yeah.
This is the most like on brand Aliens game I have ever played, and I really like Legendary Encounters Alien.
Uh-huh.
That's a really great like Alien experience.
Mm-hmm.
So I have one
uh,
question, Tim.
Yeah.
So you had to paint and
Assemble.
build these
Yes.
minis.
That's
So
probably the worst part.
How bad was that?
assembling the Xenos was a little tricky. Required some patience.
And he had some tools helping him too.
yeah, I used
the
Don't talk about
I
Pete
used,
like that.
I used. I've got a little stand that's got some clips, and you can hold the like. I just glued the tail, had a
yeah.
clip holding here and a clip holding here, and I just kind of stuck them together and dropped some glue in there.
Yeah.
I am by far like no way even close to like a professional
and
at
an
this
average, an average gamer out there just likes Aliens might not have access to those things, and it's going to be a bit more annoying for you.
stuff. Right, and then I just did a dry brush because the Xeno models already came black,
Yeah,
so I
pure
didn't even
black.
prime them, and I did a metallic blue. You could do like a
Yeah,
metallic green.
Great decision on the metallic blue, I think.
I mean, green works with like the color scheme on some, but I always feel like the aliens look more blue
Bluish.
in the movies.
Yeah.
So that's why I went with
Yeah,
the blue.
It depends on the movie and the game,
Right,
right?
right.
Some just for some reason make everything green.
But it wasn't that bad after I kind of got the hang of it. I had to work out kind of a system
To
as
get
far
'em.
as
Sure,
like
sure.
putting them together because I mean each arm is a piece.
Oof.
The torso like comes
And
together.
I
My
believe,
nightmare.
correct
I'd
me.
show up with like alien bits glued to my face,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh man.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, but I believe it's designed right to where every tail can go on everybody. Like the arms don't matter, right? Like you kind of
Allegedly.
design what they look like. I thought.
Yes and no.
Got it. So that's what
There
it
are-
says, though. I
There are
think, right?
well, no, there are like basically there's like A sprues and B sprues, and so there's different models for the A's
Okay.
in different
Poses.
Okay.
different poses
so
for both.
So the tails on the A's can go on any A body, but not any B body.
Right,
Okay.
and I ran into some problems
it's a
because I
limited-
did not realize that till way later after I was like way in there because I just went and started carving
Okay, well,
these
that's
guys
good
off,
to know, guys. Pay
carving
attention to
these
that.
guys off the sprues.
Because I see a lot of words out there on the internet and stuff saying that like the pieces are interchangeable, but they're only like 50%
Sort of
interchangeable.
Correct.
So keep an eye on that.
Correct.
Yeah.
But anyways, I got like one negative
Okay.
on the game, and some of the rules are not super clear
Sure.
in the rule book. Some things you have to just kind of figure out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Um,
and it has one of those sections of the rule book, right, where it's like if you have to figure something out, if there's a decision that's made, just the highest ranked person makes that decision, whatever,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Classic rule like that.
Yeah, so I like that, right? And
I'm just saying it means that they knew there's probably going to be some
Ambiguous,
questions.
yeah.
But I don't
So-
think that this is like unique to this game. I think Gale Force 9 kind of has that reputation a little bit with some
Okay.
of their stuff. It's fine. The actual experience of the gameplay was so good that was like more of a nitpick by the end.
Right.
By the end of it, because it's otherwise pretty straightforward. Line of sight works the way you think
it
line of
would.
sight should work.
Yep.
Yep.
Movement's pretty straightforward. It wasn't clear. I saw somebody say like, "Oh, well, if you can activate a grunt, can everybody just keep activating the grunts?" But we played it so you only activate the grunts one time.
Yeah, per round.
Per
That's what
round.
made sense to
But
me.
it doesn't specifically say you can't. So that's where I was like, the rule book has some gaps where you're just like, another sentence of information
Sure.
or clarification would be helpful.
I guess we should say too, because we forgot this even while we were playing. But just so you know, every character has their own passive and active
Oh, yeah.
ability too.
Yeah, it had already hit the fan, and we're like, oh no,
I can do that.
Yeah, we've got things. Now, I don't think it messed us up too bad.
I really don't think it did. Someone had an ability that put exhausted cards back into the deck. That's the only one that I think really would have mattered. Like I was Hicks, and as you can see, both of his like one of his just gets rid of a card from here, and I'm like, yeah, I probably wouldn't have done that much anyway, you know. So,
Right.
Yeah, but
Oh, to reroll.
yeah, and the reroll, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Thematic game.
Gosh, and it's an IP that I love. So Dan, what do you think? What do you rate this? A 1 to 10.
I think from only playing it once so far, I think the experience was better than the game. I don't know how you take that, right?
Sure.
But the game is good, but it's that experience of seeing them running through the halls and stuff, right? That really gets you. The theme brings the game up, right? I guess is what I'm saying.
This is when you come away with some cardboard war stories.
That's true. Yeah. Man, I don't know. This is a tough one. I don't know where I'm gonna drop this. I'm thinking it's probably around a 7 for me. I would recommend it wholeheartedly, which is I've said before. I think I have to have at least a 7 to say that I would recommend the game, because 6
Sure.
is just like slightly above average. I don't know. 7 is like, I would recommend this game. So I think I have to give it a 7. I enjoyed the game a lot. We'll see how that score changes over time, like perhaps in a whole year.
Right, yeah.
Maybe.
Revisit
We'll
this
see
maybe in
how
a year
that
and see where
works.
we're at.
But I think right now that's where I'm coming down. I think the experience you're going to get from this game is going to be higher than a 7. But when you actually judge it as a game, it's almost like when you play like a Sheriff of Nottingham game. The game itself is fine, but it's you making the
your
experience
experiences.
great.
It's what you
right?
do with
Sure,
this.
So yeah, what you do with this. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a great way of saying it. So yeah, I'll give it a 7 for now.
Yeah, because we had a ton of oh crap moments.
Yeah.
And like you, right? I think you said it really well. The experience of playing this game is better than the actual game.
Yeah.
Like this game doesn't throw any crazy mechanics at you.
I think that's a
Sure.
Gale Force 9 trademark, though. Like the Firefly game, if you're not into that universe, it's boring. It's dry. It's a pick up and deliver boring mess. But guess what? If you love that universe, I love that game. It's the experience you get from
Right.
that game. They're great at that. They're great at taking
IP,
a good
giving-
game, right? An okay, good game, slightly above average game, and giving you an experience that puts you in that universe. They're so good at that.
I like difficult co-ops.
Sure.
I like when you got to make tough decisions because it's like, how many cards are we going to exhaust to try to get past this? And you can't just run past the Xenomorphs.
No.
Your
Stops your
movement
movement.
stops if you are next to them. And so it's really tough because it's like, oh, we were so close to the exit. And we're really close to an easy victory. And then all of a sudden, just like the worst possible stuff started happening. Like over and over and over again.
Yeah, we
And-
literally had Newt like surrounded, and then a tunnel opened up in the ground, like I was saying earlier, right next to her.
Right next to
and
her.
a bunch of guys jumped out. We were like, "Save Newt!"
She's like the one person that can't die.
Yeah.
Because we had our two grunts that were like, bye
All right,
guys.
we'll be back for you.
yeah. Not coming back. So yeah, I think for me it's an 8.
Sure,
It's a solid 8.
I thought that's a good score for you. Yeah, I think so.
I was frustrated with the rule book at times. I think with a really clear rule book, this is easily an 8.5. And if I didn't have to assemble the minis while they're
Oh,
really
sure.
nice, that could even put this at a 9
Yeah.
because again, this is like one of my favorite movie franchises, right? I love the IP.
I guess
so
another
much.
useless piece of trivia I should say too is you only for the first mission you just have to get Newt out and 2 people out.
Okay.
Okay. Like not grunts, 2
Actual
people
people.
out. the 3 people that got out were Newt, Ripley, and Hicks.
Hold on, Vasquez made it out too.
Well, we had technically already left and abandoned her at that point, and then he said, "I'm going to take my turn,"
Yeah.
and ran out really quick.
Yeah,
I
because
don't
we
count
met
it.
the win condition.
So you're flying away with like the tailgate down, and she like ran
Yeah,
and jumped out of the back of the ship.
Exactly, as we were slowly shutting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Vasquez, anybody mistake you for a man?
Yeah.
No. How about you?
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
I
She's one of my
did-
favorite
it
characters.
was
Yeah.
so thematic. Loved it.
So yeah, and then also the cards, right? The cards have the name, like actual quotes on there. Squad of ultimate badasses. Do something, Gorman. I feel safer already. Ever been mistaken for a man? Somebody wake Hicks up is a really good one.
And I usually don't like screen captures, right? And I
Oh,
think
but it
this game
works.
does it really well. Partly because
It
the
doesn't
alien.
It doesn't look cheesy.
Yeah, the
No.
alien aesthetic and coloring and everything works for cards like this.
We
It
got
does.
knives. We got sharp sticks. anything with Hudson like freaking out
Of
is so
course.
good.
Of course, it's a
Lots
game
of good
over man
quotes in the
card.
movie.
It's reading right, man. Look, they're looking down the hall and there's nothing coming. Whoops. Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yep.
Game over, man. I was
There
wondering
it
if that was
is.
in
Oh,
there.
you
Yep,
know it
it
had to be
was.
in there. You know it had to be in there. All right, so for the board game rundown, that is a 7.5. That's pretty
Yeah.
solid. That is pretty solid. How about you guys? Would you guys want to play this sometime?
I would check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we'd have a good time. I
Yep.
think we'd have a really good time. There'd be a
sure.
lot of like tough decisions.
Right.
We didn't get to it, but in one of the scenarios, you get the turrets, and these actually like
The sentry guns, yeah, and they count down the ammo, and it is like
Nice.
straight out of like.
Yeah.
it's so sick.
It is cool.
Gosh! All right, guys.
Fantastic.
This has been Aliens: Another Glorious Day in the Core. There's a ton of expansions for this out already.
Oh, wow.
And upgraded. There's an upgraded components
Oh.
pack.
Pre-assembled minis.
Nope.
Uh,
No, when you get to like, I think they're like the crates later on when you get the
Oh,
machine
yeah,
the
that
crates,
makes
and there's
sense.
actually like the 3D
3D
face
cards.
huggers.
Nice. Oh,
so,
nice.
so when you get the,
Nice.
because there's a couple of face hugger
Right.
tokens,
Mhm.
and so you can actually get the.
You get like one of those sleep masks that look like the face hugger, so when you get bit, you gotta wear it.
Yeah,
For the
just
rest of the
put
game.
it
Oh,
But anyways, so for the board game rundown, I've been Tim.
I've been Bob.
I've been Dan.
I've been Spencer.
Stay alive, guys, and stay frosty. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for checking out the Board Game Rundown. If you like what you saw, like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share our videos on social media and spread the word. We publish new content weekly, including reviews, unboxing, and Let's Plays. And as always, thanks for watching.